Welcome aboard, everybody, to another episode of OG55. Today, we're talking all about permits from the East Coast to the West Coast. We are talking all about permits. We got the Porto's permits. We got Carsland permits over there in Magic Kingdom. We're talking about all of it. I got the Italiano with me today on OG55. Welcome on board, everybody. Glasses are back. I'm actually in the process of ordering more contacts, but in the meantime, the glasses are officially back. George, how you doing, brother? What's up?
Doing good. Yeah, just a regular, ordinary day, but definitely can't wait to dive into some good old-fashioned Disney topics with you, as we always do here on Orange Grove 55. So it's always going to be a good day.
Absolutely. Where can everybody find you on social media, sir?
Absolutely. You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You can also find me on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you can find me right here on my home base on Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner, with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info. And you could also check out my new YouTube channel and Instagram, Citrico Central, sister channel to Orange Grove 55.
There we go. All right, let's rock and roll, George. We're talking permits. First up is Disneyland Resort, the home park, the home base. We got permits filed for demolition in downtown Disney. This is courtesy of All Ears. So Disney has officially filed permits to tear down the La Brea Bakery. Now, this is where it gets a little interesting. Disney filed the permits with the Anaheim Planning and Building Department, and they call for the bakery along with 2 Disneyland ticket booths to be demolished. So I'm assuming the 2 booths, when you kind of walk towards the Esplanade, there's like 2 booths right there, like right before you get to DC.
Right across the way from Earl of Sandwich.
Yes, you get sorry, I hit my Kendrick drop. I do apologize. So yeah, as you're walking towards the Esplanade, like right before DCA, there's actually these 2 ticket booths, which I'm assuming are the ones that will be removed. But it says here, this location will be future home of Porto's Bakery in downtown Disney. Porto's Bakery is officially coming to downtown Disney. The permits being filed signal the work beginning on the bakery, which was originally announced in 2022. So this is interesting, George. Now, we've talked about it with our friend Danny from Five Fires, where, I mean, he actually brought the Esplanade situation to our attention. I mean, it was kind of like this obvious thing, but I never really even thought about it. It's kind of weird. And he brought to our attention, and when he talked about it with us like about a year ago, how they really need to reconfigure the Esplanade. A lot of these ticket booths are kind of pointless in this new day and age with online ticketing and all that good stuff. And it just is looking a little worn out, right? So this is encouraging news. I mean, I'm excited for Porto's. We have one out here by me. It's always a banger, but great pastries, but I'm actually kind of more excited just to kind of like get like a little bit of the Esplanade kind of worked on. I know this is just a little sliver of it, but I think it's going to make a big difference. But what say you, George?
I agree. I feel like everyone is kind of looking at the main focus, which is Porto's, which is obviously great. I got to finally try it myself after moving out here to California, and I could see the hype. I could see, how it's very popular, and it's one of the biggest bakery franchises I've ever seen to this date. But I am leaning more towards what you're saying. I think this is like the start of something new. Sorry, not to quote my High School Musical franchise, but I feel like this is the starting point of them kind of reworking the Esplanade area, because it's not just about adding another franchise to downtown Disney or moving, the Earl of Sandwich, but it's removing 2 ticket booths, which again, the starting of like, moving more ticket booths and like reworking the whole Esplanade area. So I think that, to me, as much as I'm excited for Porto's, I'm more excited to actually see a few of the ticket booths to be going, to be honest, because it's very telling what it's going to be like moving forward in the future for Disneyland forward.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm a Disney nerd, more than a pastry nerd. So no surprise, right? But I'm a Disney nerd before I'm a pastry nerd. So yeah, I love Portos. I've been to the one in they got one I think in Burbank. They got them all over the place. But it's great. It's great food. But I'm really excited to see how this kind of changes this end of downtown Disney. This end of downtown Disney needs a lot of work. The other end is starting to look really good, right? We're getting the mid-century stuff over there. We got that whole little new area in the back where we had our OG55 meetup, where like Din Tai Fung is and Soul Sister and that Parkside Market, all that good stuff. That stuff is looking really cool. But this side is looking really worn out. I mean, the Esplanade, we were at Disney recently, and when we were walking through that Esplanade, a lot of those tiles, those paver stones, which I actually do have a paver stone, but they're all worn out to the point where you can't even read some of them. It's getting really worn out. So I hope that this is just the beginning of it, like you were saying, the start of something new. And that once they bulldoze these ticket booths, we expand Portos out there. They start to kind of move further into the Esplanade and really start to work on this stuff. I know there is a time limit or time frame in which they can actually legally touch the paver stones, because people, when they bought those, they were promised a set amount of time. So
when did they end that?
I don't remember. It seems like a while ago though. I mean, I feel like it's been at least before the pandy, right?
And how long did Disney promise people that if they put their name in there, is it like 15 years, 20 years?
I think it was something like that. And I got mine during Disneyland's 50th anniversary. So
okay.
I mean, that was in 2005. Because I have the little 50th anniversary. It could be coming up soon. Yeah, exactly. Which is maybe why they're doing it. They're starting it now. I mean, like, if they're going to dip into the ticket booths and stuff, maybe they're ready, dude.
Well, and I would say too, I mean, I get, Disney's point back in the day, like to add kind of like people like to leave their mark, their memories, their names, on Disneyland property. But just like how it was for the Leave a Legacy at Epcot, it's very outdated. It's just kind of not the way anymore. We used to call it the like the graveyard site, walking into Epcot, where you see these huge, like, kind of like tombstone looking structures that it has like little square photographs of people's real life memories that got added to that. And it was like, again, I get Disney's idea behind it, but the execution of it was kind of didn't really hit the mark. But I do also want to mention this too, about this as our whole topic, not even just with Portos and what have you. And not to make it political or anything, but it does make me wonder, with Disney kind of firing all these cylinders with these permits filed, the government is encouraging a lot of companies to start projects or to buy as much material that they need as possible, possibly before the 90 days of the pause on the tariffs. So, I mean, that's very telling too, if Disney's going to want to start. And in a way, that's kind of a good thing, because it can kind of like light a fire under Disney's ass to, to kind of start things. Because if they kind of hold back, like how we were saying that, Josh D'Amaro might be looking for a scapegoat, but if he waits and then uses that as an excuse, then all the light, the spotlight's going to be on him, saying, Josh, well, why did you wait?
Right. No, absolutely. Absolutely. They got to get moving on this stuff. So we'll see. We'll absolutely see. But this is exciting news overall. I'm hyped for it. Obviously because of the changes that it means for downtown Disney, but on a side note as well, I mean, just Portos in general. It's a great franchise, I think that this is going to be a massive hit. Now, this is smart too. We talked about it when they announced Portos like a few years ago now. You can't just build a Portos. Like, we said it in the old videos, like from 3 years ago. Like, when you build a Portos, you have to go big, because really even the one like in Burbank, man, I mean, these things are like packed. I mean, the lines to get into these things are nuts. You know what I'm saying? So if you put
a regular Portos, can you imagine? This is going to be on Disney property.
This is going to be on Disney property. This thing is going to have to be massive. And so they're making accommodations. That whole building's going to be torn down, which is great. That's exactly what you should be doing, Disney. So really good news. Portos is awesome. Changes to downtown Disney is awesome. I'm really excited. So We'll see. But we got more permit news up ahead. Let's break it down. Break it down, break it down, break it down. Okay, here we go. We got Magic Kingdom. This is courtesy of wdwmagic.com. Disney files permits for project offices near future Cars themed land at the Magic Kingdom. It says here, new permit filings today from Walt Disney Imagineering reveals preparations are underway for the next phase of Magic Kingdom's Cars theme project. The permit focuses on setting up a temporary trailer compound likely to serve I can't even talk today. Serve as project offices for the major redevelopment of Frontierland. One of the permits is assigned to McGrath Rent Corp, a company known for supplying relocation modular commonly used for temporary office space on large construction sites. Additionally, permits were filed for plumbing, HVAC, and electrical infrastructure to support the new compound. The trailer complex will be located off Floridian Way in a backstage area behind Tiana's Bayou Adventure and Big Thunder Mountain. The location is ideally positioned just behind the Rivers of America and Tom Sawyer Island, the area set to be transformed into a Cars themed land beginning in 2025. George, thoughts on this, man? The permits are filed. Now, just a little caveat, permits for anything doesn't necessarily mean 1,000%. I mean, they can cancel projects anytime they want, but right. A lot of people out there are saying this ain't going to happen, and Disney's reconsidering. It doesn't seem like they're reconsidering. It seems like they really want this thing to go forward. And here's the other thing too: the Disney diehards think differently than the normies. If you were to ask a normie, what do you want? Well, family. What do you want, soccer mom? Right? Do you want the river, or do you want something for your kids? You want cars, or the family is gonna choose the IP thing. They just are every single time. So I think the normies, the general public, I think they're by and large on board with this. The diehard fans in our community, some of them have issues with this, but I think by and large, I think people are supportive. But that's just my opinion. I could be wrong, but what say you, George?
For me, when I first saw this article and read it, and it kind of reminded me of how it started up with the Tropical Americas project over at Animal Kingdom. Disney kind of filed the permits for the trailers for the construction site, and this is the route that they're going. And I agree with you. That doesn't necessarily mean it's rubber stamped, signed, sealed, and delivered. But when Disney makes moves like this, they are moving forward with this. And I know a lot of people in the community are very passionate. They give their thoughts and opinions. They write to Disney. And again, that's completely
cool.
fine. Their God-given right. And I know a lot of people say with former Imagineers, Eddie Soto and Jim Scholl, they gave their opinions on it. This is probably going to be the nail in the coffin. Disney's not going to do anything. Well, we do know some sources that were saying that, no, it seems like Disney is, still going to move on with this no matter what. And it obviously right now with the permits just being filed, I don't think Disney's going to waste any time filing permits for trailers for construction to move all stuff away just to say, okay, we're going to cancel this thing.
Yeah, they're not going to cancel. And look, you're right, George. I mean, if you're passionate about the Rivers of America and you're passionate about that entity staying, I respect passion. I do. I really do respect and like people with passion. I think all too much nowadays in our society, there's a lot of cynical. Everyone's a cynic, and it's kind of, so when you have someone who's really passionate about something, I don't give a shit about sports at all, but if you're passionate about sports, that's awesome, man. That's cool. Right. So look, if you're passionate about the Rivers of America, it's your thing. You want to write letters to Disney and in a respectful way and professional way. And you want to do this whole campaign, this whole thing to save this river. By all means, you have every right to do so. You know what I'm saying? In my humble opinion, I don't think it's going to work. This is my opinion. You know what I'm saying? But you have every right to do it. And I also don't feel like this particular location, the Rivers of America at the Magic Kingdom, holds the same significance of the one at Disneyland. And I know a lot of people are going to push back on me with that, and hear me out. That's okay, because You know what? A lot of things at Disneyland Resort don't hold the same significance that they do at Walt Disney World, right? So, for example, and I've said this before, but it bears repeating, the Tower of Terror at DCA really was kind of mid, right? It was Tower of Terror light. It didn't really matter that much. It wasn't as much of a signature thing at DCA as the Hollywood Tower Hotel at Hollywood Studios is. So for me to retheme the Tower of Terror to Mission Breakout was like, it kind of made sense in the context of that building, of that attraction. It was a weak version of that theme. So why not retheme it to something else and make it its own thing? Same here with Rivers of America. The Disneyland Rivers of America is the absolute GOAT. You have the Haunted Mansion, you have New Orleans Square, Pirates of the Caribbean, like arguably the best theme park land circling that river. You have Fantasmic on that river. They've monetized that river. Walt Disney, the history with him, with that whole thing. I mean, there's so much there that Florida just doesn't have. So it's not an apples to apples comparison. It really isn't. This river at Magic Kingdom is not the same thing. It just is not. And it doesn't have the same elements to it, right? And I know a lot of people don't like to hear that, but it's the truth. So when I tell you, hey, yeah, I don't want Disneyland's river to go away, but I'm fine with Magic Kingdoms, it's not because I'm being a douchey Californian. It's because they're not the same thing, bro. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, George.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I completely get what you're saying. And also I had mentioned former Imagineers Eddie Soto and Jim Scholl. They kind of gave their own interpretation of how they would change the layout where you could still have Carsland and Villains Land and still keep the river. And I think that's the common misconception where I think people don't mind having the Cars area. It's the fact that of what it's replacing. But here's the thing. And again, I respect both of those men. They worked for the company. They're very creative, and I think their concepts would work. It definitely would work. So, but when you think about that, don't you think Disney would have went down that route if it was something that simple? I don't think Disney is implying to get rid of the river just to say, let's get rid of it and see how many people we could piss off. I truly believe that there is a lot of issues going on with the river that's very costly. And they're like, you know what? How can we kill two birds with one stone?
Bingo.
And let's just take care of it.
Bingo, George. 100%. Bingo, bingo, bingo. That's exactly what it is. We've heard from a lot of people in the know, so to speak, that the river has a lot of infrastructure issues or what have you. So Disney's probably looking at that going, it's going to cost us this amount of money to fix it. Do we pour money into the river that doesn't help the capacity much? It's not moving the needle with the normies. Or do we get rid of it and put something in there that will move the needle with the normies, that will give us more capacity, that will give us more attractions, that will compete with Epic Universe? All the fans wanted Disney to respond. Finally, when they respond, now it's like, well, yeah, with Disney, but we don't want that. Well, it's like, when you're begging Disney for investments, I mean, not to say you have to like every new change, but it's like, come on, like, what do you think's going to happen? Like when you invest in your parks, there is that chance that something you like might get removed. That's just the way it is. You know what I'm saying?
They got rid of the Great Movie Ride. I absolutely love that attraction. Am I still slightly bitter about it? Yeah. I mean, I do wish that Disney would have thought that through a little bit better, but is that going to ruin my experience with going to Disney? No. Is that going to stop me from going? No. Is it going to stop me from being the Disney bias that I am? No. But it's like, things happen, things come and go, and that's the way Walt wanted it. He wanted change. He wanted growth. He wanted expansion. He didn't want this old decrepit museum where everything just sat stagnant and it stayed the way it was. He was always about progression. I believe it was Marty Sklar that said, Walt was the type of visionary that he was, an innovator. He had one foot in the past and one foot in the future.
Right, exactly. No, Walt Disney was nostalgic, but he wasn't married to it to the point where it was going to prevent him from change. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I've said it before. If Walt was still alive today in 2025, that Disneyland Castle probably would have changed 3 times over by now. The way the man, right? It's the way the man was. He was on more of a budget back then, I'm sure, than he would be now, obviously. So he'd probably look at it and go, you know what? I can do better. Let's change it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. These Disney parks were built with that DNA. These are creative sandboxes where, like, creatives should play in it, and, like, things change and evolve. And again, I'm not saying you have to shill for the mouse house. I'm not saying that. You can not like a project. Like I said earlier, you can email, you can write letters and say, I don't approve of them removing it, and that's fine. But the change is part of the equation here at Disney, and that's what they do. And you don't like the change, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, it's part of it. Like Pandora is a perfect example. I mean, we don't know what we're going to lose with that. Who knows? It could be Hollywood Land. We might lose nothing. We might just have the symbol lot, but we don't know. But it's worth it, in my opinion, because that's a quality land. I want to see what I'm open. It's exciting. The future of that park is exciting. You know what I'm saying? Despite the fact that, yeah, we lost the red card, and yeah, we might lose some other areas of the park, but that's just the nature of the Disney theme park.
Yep.
Now, before we move on to this last thing I want to bring up, any final comments on either project, George?
Just the fact of I'm so glad that, again, that we're starting to see permits being filed, and it tells me that Disney is moving forward with these projects. I want to see it, happen. Obviously, they're already working on Tropical Americas. It's soon to be Monsters Inc. over at Hollywood Studios. And now they're doing the permits for Cars, which eventually will lead into Villains. So far, it's starting to look pretty positive. Aside from, people's personal opinions on the rivers and Muppet Vision 3D. But again, as I said, change is going to happen no matter what. But I'm excited to see what's on the horizon for Disney moving forward into the future.
Yeah, the change is exciting, and it can be sad sometimes. I get it. You know what I'm saying? I get it. You lose your favorite ride, you lose your favorite show. I understand that. I respect that. I get it. But hey, this is what it is, right? Disney parks are about change, and you got to move with it. You know what I'm saying? But one last thing I want to bring up, actually, before we get out of here, is this. This is from our friend of the channel, Mr. Lucas Kim. Okay. Lucas here says, Megan is a friend of mine and is suffering from leukemia and needs help from a lot of people who can help. The situation is serious and every bit counts. If you can, please share, repost, or donate. Let's support this effort. I will be linking his tweet in the description down below. If you can help Megan out in any way, go ahead. Please do. Like he said, even if you can just retweet it, you know what I'm saying? Do that if you can't afford to donate. But really, really sad diagnosis. Obviously, leukemia is a terrible, terrible disease. Cancer. So I talked to Lucas this weekend, and I gave him my word that I would try to spread the word on Megan and her GoFundMe. So I just wanted to put that out there. So again, it's in the description down below if you're interested in donating, or if you just want to share it out, it's there for you. So George, anything else before we get out of here today, sir?
No, I think that's about it. And also to Megan, thoughts and prayers with you. Keep it up, stay strong, and you'll be better soon. So
yes, no, absolutely, absolutely. George, where can everybody find you on social media, sir?
Absolutely. You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You can also find me on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you can find me right here on my home base on Orange Grove 55 with citrus corn, or with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info. And you could also check out my new YouTube channel and Instagram, Citrico Central, sister channel to Orange Grove 55.
There he is. Comment down below. We would love to hear from you about all the permit stuff going on. What are your thoughts? What are your opinions? Thank you so much for joining us. And until next time, have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching OG55. If you aren't already, consider becoming a member today.